there any black kickers or punters in the league right now?
Yeah, I think
the white unit special teams. Dude,
we can go get destroying, bro.
Our fundamentals are going to be so good. We're going to play so much harder. Like, we need this, dude. We fucking need this. We're going to control the ball. We're going to do all the little things right. Great fundamentals. Yeah, we might get killed a little bit by Tyreek Hill. We might get a little dusted by Tyreek Hill, but like, I'll come out of retirement for this shit. You know, I don't know how many white nose guards we got in the NFL right now. Yo, welcome back. Fax and the King. I'm Beau Allen, 7-year NFL vet, proud Wisconsin alumni.
And I'm Nate Collins, a.k.a. Dr. Fax, out of University of Virginia. What are you talked about this week, Beau?
I'll tell you what the fuck I'm torqued about, Dr. Fax. I'm fully torqued. I'm not even remotely flaccid, and that's because I'm going home for the holidays, baby. Christmas in Tampa with palm trees, that is not it. I'm headed back up to Minnesota. Got to get, some colder weather around Christmas time, get some of my mama's fresh cooking, and maybe even get a white Christmas. Fax. I've been monitoring the weather. It's not looking good, but I got my fingers crossed. What about you?
I am torqued for my birthday gift this year, which was my girl took me to the card shop, and I got some of those Pokemon cards that I showed you. I sent them off to be officially graded. But I was very, very upset to find out. Guess how long these fuckers take, bro? How long would you assume like a grading process on cards?
2 weeks.
5 fucking months, bro.
What? They're probably backed up, bro. They got everybody digging through their storage units, finding Pokemon cards and sending them in.
That's exactly what it is. And since COVID, it was a year. It used to be a year, and 5 months is kind of on the short end for the good grading companies that you yield the most return. If you end up getting a good grade, which some of my cards, I don't know, I might get 7s, 5 to 7s. But it's still going to be something that I'm going to be excited to get them back in 5 months. But that seems so fucking far away right now.
Bro. Hey, good things come to those who wait. I think you got some holographic 9.5s in there. You're sitting on a gold mine, Fax.
Hopefully, we will see. We will see soon to come.
That'll be your retirement package. All right, we got a great show for you guys. I'm really excited. We got a really good guest here. Probably the best college football player to ever carry the name of Beau Allen, and that's incoming Kentucky quarterback Beau Allen. He actually started his career at Kentucky, transferred around a little bit, and now he's returning home. He's a Kentucky native, returning back to be a Kentucky Wildcat. Really excited to have him on the pod. I've been following his career for a couple years now. I inadvertently get tagged in some of his stuff online, and so it's fun to get him on the podcast and talk about the transfer portal, Kentucky football, and a couple other things. So welcome, Beau Allen. All right, joined by future Kentucky quarterback Beau Allen. Got an easy question for you, Beau. How's it feel to be the most athletic Beau Allen in the history of college football?
I'm not sure if I am, but that's a good honor. Good honor to have. Feels pretty good.
Absolutely the most electric Beau Allen in the history of the game. I can assure you. I've been kind of following along. It's been really fun to follow your career. I think we kind of linked up on Twitter back in, 2019 or 2020 when you were originally getting recruited to Kentucky. So always fun to follow along my long-lost brother.
Definitely.
Fax and I, when we were in college, it was just such a different atmosphere, right? When you wanted to transfer, you had to sit out for a year. It was a whole, there are all these hoops you have to jump through. And now, you start off at Kentucky, transferred to Tarleton State, and then transferred to Georgia Southern, and now you're on your way back to Kentucky. I was wondering if you could just kind of walk us through what the transfer portal is like, because it's such a different atmosphere than what we're used to.
Yeah, I mean, really, I imagine it like there's just no length of a contract. It's just constant, probably free agency if you wanted it to be that way. I think there's a lot of great things about it and a lot of bad things about it, honestly. I think I've taken advantage of it. I really don't know how I personally feel about it sometimes. Kind of your traditional way of things is how I used to think about it. But when I first made my decision to initially enter the transfer portal, the first out of the 3 times, I probably wish I did a little bit earlier, but I always enjoyed being at Kentucky. I love the team. I love my guys on the team. I just really I imagine it obviously I have no idea what it's like to be in the NFL, but there's no length on the contract, and it's just probably constant free agency. and you can kind of pick. I know, and there are kind of some rulings in terms of if you haven't graduated, how many times you can do that. But really, other than that, it's pretty. You can kind of, if you wanted to, you can leave almost at any point.
It seems like it's the wild, wild west, in terms of like the transfer portal, the NIL. We are monitoring a little bit how many people, declared for the transfer portal on that first day. And I think you were one that entered the transfer portal on the first day this year, right? And it's like, can you just talk about so what are some of these cons? Because everyone talks about how it's great because, if you get a new coaching staff or if you have a situation where you need to transfer closer to home, you have that availability. But I feel like people don't necessarily talk about some of the cons of the transfer portal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like some cons I've seen in the past is like I've done this 3 times, and really the first time I did it was probably the time that I didn't really have a true plan. I knew I wanted to get somewhere and have an opportunity to play. I really had no idea where that was going to be. Like my main deal was I really wanted to get in somewhere where I could have a chance to play that season. But the biggest problem I see is maybe just players don't have the greatest insight from coaches or parents that maybe they get themselves in a tough situation. Like, let's say like a player is at Wisconsin or something. They're like a second or third string guy and they want to enter the portal and they want to stay Power 5. Like that's going to be really hard. You know what I'm saying? If you may have to go to Group of 5 or even FCS, if you want to have a really good chance of playing that year. And I'm not trying to make it like that's different for everybody, but and more likely than not, like if you're not playing, you have a better shot at playing. I know situations and schemes are different and fit different players in certain ways, but those are the things when like maybe your kind of thesis or thought of why you should enter the portal is kind of different than what you could act upon. And every single time it's going to be a little bit of a leap of faith. I'd say like to some guys I've seen in the past have a little bit of a plan, some don't, but sometimes whatever else could come at them may be better than whatever they're doing currently. But just depending on really what you want and kind of what matters to you the most at that time in your career is what I would say.
And with that being said, the NIL is something that also is new. Me and Beau, we weren't fortunate enough to be in college when all this new NIL stuff came into play. So how much, if any, like was that a factor for you, like while you're thinking about transferring schools? And do you think that is now one of the biggest factors that kids are maybe thinking about when they're choosing a new school or choosing to hop into the transfer portal?
Yeah, it seems like if you're a guy who, like when I've entered the portal, like I left Kentucky as a backup who played like 12 snaps. So like I didn't really have I went to like a smaller school and there were some like opportunities there. But I bet like if you're a 5-star quarterback or you're transferring, you've had some wonderful seasons. I bet it's a much larger play than the rest of the guys in the portal. And there's just much more of a conversation. So I think for a lot of players, yes. Like I bet, I'm not sure exactly what it's like if you're like a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school, but I bet those are some pretty, I don't know what those conversations are like, but I bet they can be pretty intense in terms of whatever these guys are getting.
It's like free agency. And you think about guys like Cam Ward and Riley Leonard, it's a pretty small quarterback group in college. So I feel like you kind of see what these guys are doing and they're transferring. They had successful seasons in 2023 and now they're entering the portal, and you have to think that the NIL is a pretty big factor. So it's just interesting, man, because it's like a combination almost to me. It seems looking at it from the outside, it feels a little bit like a combination of recruiting and free agency, So it's like, it's pretty wild. But you mentioned earlier, so you're at Kentucky, you played 12 snaps. Looks like Will Levis, you were there with him. We watched him as a rookie in the NFL. Just kind of wondering what he's like a little bit. I'm a meathead, so it's fun to see quarterbacks that are meatheads too. Was he a guy that you got along with at Kentucky?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the world of him. I think I learned a lot from him. Like one thing going like talking about like being a meathead a little bit, but I thought he showed me more than anything, like it's okay for a quarterback to be really strong. I mean, you can see like, I know he ended up getting hurt yesterday a little bit, sadly. I hope he gets back out there as soon as possible. But I mean, he could take hit after hit from the biggest dudes in the SEC when I was able to see that on the field. And I mean, I was like still like I feel like a strong quarterback, but not really like trying to intensively go after like my lifting maybe as much as what he was in terms of really truly bringing on strength. And that was something I took along my career after I've been with him. But no, I think the world of him, he's a great leader, great guy. Like I love hanging out with him. Just I mean, anybody would when you're not even talking anything about football. No, I think he's a fantastic dude.
He's got you putting the mayo in the coffee too, or what?
No. He probably got like he would always talk about how like at the start of all that stuff, it always brought him some publicity and a lot of good things, but it got probably pretty annoying to him, probably pretty quick.
I bet. So after your time in Kentucky, you transferred. You mentioned earlier that you just wanted the opportunity to play. Obviously, when you're a football player, that's really all that you want. And so you transferred to FCS school, Tarleton State, and had a great season. And that was in 2022. You had 2,836 yards, 23 TDs, only 11 interceptions in 11 games. Just kind of wondering what your experience was like transferring from a big school like Kentucky to Tarleton State, where you played really, really well. Like, how was that adjustment for you?
It went great. It really went a lot better than I ever could have expected. When I entered the portal, I was going to actually take a visit there with my dad to Tarleton State, and we're probably like 5 days away from camp start. So I ended up taking a suitcase with me in case if I wanted to go there, I just ended up staying. So I ended up staying, and there was the biggest thing that I realized, I think, and I know you played at Wisconsin your whole career, so it's I've gotten to see like a little smaller levels and you got to play with. But what I would think, and most teams of FCS, like the most help, I mean, we had a lot of great players, had a lot of great receivers, offensive linemen on that team, but it felt like the first 11 guys that go out in that field, there are a lot of guys in the same situation that I was in. You know what I'm saying? Mostly now with the transfer portal. But you see the biggest differences in the depth and compared to just guys rolling off the sideline play after play. There's a lot. That's what I'd say. I think it's fantastic I had just an absolute blessing for a lot of great coaches and a lot of great players at Tarleton State that helped me progress. And I really didn't know what I was going to do at the end of the year. I just wanted to go in there and compete to get the opportunity to play and then play the best that I could. And if I wanted to figure out more about that at the end of the year, but ended up deciding to leave after that. But no, I had a fantastic time. It was really just getting out there I played like 2 or 3 games my true freshman year and 2 games my sophomore year. Both were like in those blowout kind of scenarios. But it was just great to really be able to go out, just start and kind of be a leader, like a quarterback, never like a backup quarterback in the same as like a backup receiver or something, or you're the 2 running backs. So it was great. It was one of my favorite decisions I've ever made in my life.
Yeah, I bet.
You had said earlier that you're at your parents' crib right now, your mom's house, like recording this. How good is that to be able to come back home and to play a season and obviously to be close enough to your parents, just being able to do that after being there and then leaving and then now coming back? How great is that for you and your family?
It's great. I definitely took it for granted my first couple of years here at Kentucky. That's been great. Hopefully I can find a place probably here in the next 2-3 weeks, but that's just a lot easier with transitioning and moving and everything. And they've been a great help for me as I have in my whole life, but that's been special. Like my parents' house or my childhood home is just probably a mile away from the stadium and the facility. So it's real close.
Hey, stack some NIL checks and live with your parents and put that money in the bank, baby.
Yeah, it helped me out. That's for sure.
Are you going to go to the bowl game? Kentucky's playing Clemson coming up here. Pretty big one. Are you going to check that out?
I'm not 100% for sure yet, but I was thinking about it. It'd be kind of fun to go there as a fan a little bit. I think I'm probably going to go. I hope to go over to practice over here in the next couple of days, but I'm not for sure if I'll go to the game or not.
Got it. Well, you're part of this number 10 transfer rating for, Kentucky's upcoming class. And like I said, man, it's wild to me that, you have recruiting class rankings and now they're starting to release all these transfer rankings as well. It's like 2 separate identities. So you're a big part of that, which is very exciting. But a little bit of a different question here is wondering who's your favorite guy that you've played with? We all have our buddies in college. And I feel like for whatever reason, that college bond, when you play with those guys, like it just feels a little bit different than the relationships you create in the NFL. So who are some of your favorite teammates you've had? Because you've been at a lot of different stops.
One that you all may know of, his name's Luke Fortner. He's the center for the Jaguars right now.
Sweet, yeah.
And so I was there my freshman and sophomore year at Kentucky with him, but he was just a dude where we had a lot of kind of quarterback and like offensive line traditions. Like we would go to like Gatlinburg, Tennessee, like every summer, just the quarterbacks and the offensive line and like stuff like that. He was just an ultimate leader, and he would talk with everybody on the team. If you're a walk-on freshman that knew 2 people on the roster and he was a 6-year senior center who ended up getting drafted, like he would talk to everybody the same way. He was a fantastic dude. I thought the world of him. A really smart guy too. I think he got like 2 masters while he was here too.
Wow.
So I know. Yeah, he's a special guy.
Really impressive. In his second year as an O lineman for the Jags. Jags are having a pretty good year, so I'm sure it's fun for you to watch his success.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of the NFL, like I keep saying, I mean, I feel like quarterback, one of my really good buddies, his name's Ryan Griffin. He's a backup quarterback for the Bucs. Yep, for a long time. So it's been fun for me to kind of, talk to him. And what I'm learning in the quarterback circle, it's kind of a tight-knit community, So I'm just curious to see who, maybe a quarterback that you want to emulate your game after in the NFL, or else a college football quarterback that you've really enjoyed watching might be.
Probably like one of the first ones that comes is probably like Baker Mayfield. I think we're probably similar size, like probably kind of just how we play a little bit similar. Like we can, like not like dual threat guys by any means, but can move fine enough to do what you need to do. So I think mainly him, and kind of his college career was a little bit unique too. So that's a little bonus to that too.
And he played a great game against the Packers. I think he had a perfect QBR on Sunday and led the Bucs over, a big win. So great guy to watch for sure.
One question I was going to ask you is, just as a player, as a quarterback, when you're walking into a new locker room and just trying to get the guys to rally around you and everyone to be on the same page, what's something for you that you kind of can go to and know, like, hey, as long as I do this, I know everyone will fall in line, and I just have to focus on this aspect?
Yeah, I think what I would say is, like, the first thing I would say is probably do as much as you can through work at first. Like, try to. I mean, I know in football, like, I'm gonna start here in January, and a lot of guys I haven't been there on the roster with, so I haven't practiced with them. So you kind of only do so much in terms of kind of proving what you can do out on the field. But it's in the weight room or meetings, lead the best way you can, and just always kind of lead through work first, and always kind of build upon that in terms of what you do as more of a vocal leader, and showing your confidence in other areas too. Yeah, what would you say, like, when the quarterbacks came into your all's locker rooms in the past?
I was going to say, this is kind of before all the transfer portal and stuff, but my sophomore year, Russell Wilson transferred into Wisconsin from NC State.
Yeah.
And my locker is right next to his, and I'll never forget, this fucker came in every day with a button down and khakis, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, we're all wearing issue gear, every single day. The freshman tuxedo, we called it. And but the way he came in and worked, he really just won the locker room over really quickly. So I think that's a great attitude to have.
Yeah, and I say, like, the same thing. Probably as a college player, I would say the quarterback will probably win me over in the weight room. If you're like you said, like, if you're a meathead and you're showing that, like, you can push big weight and you're running like hard, I think that goes a long way.
Thanks again, man, for coming on. It's really fun to, meet you in person. It's, we've been following your career. Fun to follow a fellow Beau Allen, and best of luck at Kentucky, man. Really looking forward to watching you play.
We're going to be rooting for you, man.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you all for having me on, and it's been awesome to keep up with you all and keep up with you, Beau, and all that you're doing after football as well.
Thanks a lot, man. Beau Allen's Unite. Take care, brother. You have a great one. Appreciate you. All right. Thanks a lot for coming on, Beau. He's such a well-spoken, smart, young Beau Allen. It's refreshing. You don't get a lot of Beau Allens that are, handsome, young, smart men. So we're all really excited to follow his career as he returns to Kentucky. Seems like a great guy, easy guy to root for. And then, like we mentioned, it's crazy talking about this transfer portal, Dr. Fax. There is so much going on. So it's cool to get some insider info from someone who has, transferred to, FCS programs now and then back to Georgia Southern, and now he's transferring to Kentucky. So it's wild, man.
The portal is absolutely crazy, and it's basically right now the Wild Wild West. It's basically NFL free agent-ish. Yep. I would say everyone looking for a 1-year max out contract deal, but the amount of players that are in the portal, like, I think that's the first thing that they're going to have to, like, make a cap or do something to. And, like, you have to maybe get in by a certain time, because this is going to start getting ridiculous every single year. Basically, if I don't play the amount of snaps that I have imagined in my head, I'm out of here. Like, that's basically what it is.
And, I mean, he kind of alluded to that, too. He was saying in the interview, like, some people kind of enter the portal and don't really have a plan. And that's how he felt it went the first time that he, entered the portal, because he just wanted to play, his backup quarterback. And that's how he ended up at Tarleton State. But there are so many players in the portal, and it's wild. And I was talking with the athletic director of UW, Chris McIntosh, recently, and that's what he said. He said there are a lot of guys from Wisconsin that are entering the portal. They would play at Wisconsin, and they're not going to find these opportunities that they want. So it seems like there's almost a surplus of players, which is a really interesting thing to follow.
It's really going to be the classic scenario of, is the grass greener on the other side? And I feel like everyone, the majority of these guys who are entering the portal, I feel like that's maybe what it is. I think the portal, for guys in college now, maybe you're an old lineman and you get hurt your freshman year and you're at a Georgia. Get in the portal and maybe go to a FCS school, or maybe go somewhere where you can have time to heal and show, you know what, I'm maybe not at the level I used to be, but I'm still good. I think the NIL really muddies the water with all this stuff.
That's really only the top end guys, Fax. You know what I mean? That's a little bit what Beau was saying in his interview as well. If you're a top end quarterback, like I said, these are easy guys to make these comparisons, like Cam Ward or Riley Leonard or, Walter Nolan, or, there's a bunch of good guys in the portal. Those are the guys that are really cashing in these NIL deals. These mid-level guys, they're not really getting paid. And I think maybe they're entering the portal with some of these NIL expectations and playing time expectations, and they're not going to end up hitting them. So it's interesting. This is my question for you, though, Fax. If, let's say when we were in college football, and I've been thinking about this recently, would you have entertained the idea of entering the portal at any point in your career?
Absolutely, bro. After my first year, I had a situation, I talk about it before on Greenlight. I had a situation where my coach at the time, because I played as a true freshman, and I guess it was my head coach's decision to allow that to happen, my D-line coach at the time did not fuck with that. He was so against playing like first years, and he kind of took it out on me my whole first year. And I had I had a really, really rough year trying to learn a 3-4 defense, playing right away, knowing my red shirt's gone. And I just think about that for me and what I went through, and how I used to call my mom and be like, I maybe want to leave here. But the thought of having to sit out an entire year was hell fucking no. After actually playing, I was like, yo, I don't know if I can endure an entire season of practice and not being able to play. Because that was the mental thought back then. And I definitely probably would have entertained it. You know what I mean? And the thought of, I think about it now, maybe playing for a Rutgers or a UConn, being that much closer to home. Just knowing the way I was, and I was with my family, and knowing my family, they traveled down to Virginia for all my games. That definitely would have played a huge part. If they can and if they were offering me a little bit of money, I definitely would have entertained it for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about what if. I love my time at Wisconsin. I got my Rose Bowl jersey behind me. My family went to Wisconsin. But after my junior year, Brett Bielema left to go to Arkansas kind of suddenly. And we were in a 4-3 defense, and then we got a new coaching staff. Gary Anderson came in from Utah State, and he brought Dave Aranda. We were a 3-4 team at that point. So entering my senior season, I was like, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know the staff at all. They're not loyal to me. I don't know how to play, two-gapping nose guard. And so I ended up only playing 15 to 25 snaps my senior year. And before that, I was the guy, So it's just interesting to think about. I don't think I would have ended up leaving because I had such great relationships with my friends and teammates, and I was pretty close to home, going to school in Wisconsin and being from Minnesota. So, but it is an interesting thought, Fax. Just kind of think about what if. Speaking of what if, obviously we're in bowl season for college football. We got the college football playoffs coming up, and there has been a lot of discussion about Florida State not getting in and getting snubbed. And this whole thing is really kind of coming to a head lately. The Florida Attorney General Ashley Mooney launched an investigation into the college football playoff committee. This is getting pretty serious, man. I'm kind of surprised at how much steam this whole thing is getting. So she states, as it stands, the committee's decision reeks of partiality, so we are demanding answers, not only for FSU, but for all schools, teams, and fans of college football. In Florida, merit matters. If it's the attention they were looking for, the committee certainly has our attention now. Pretty serious words from the Florida Attorney General.
Hey, I respect it. As petty as it may seem, this is what I said from the jump. Like, don't tell us that you're following a strict system and then we all are following that system with you, and then you guys are coming out with a different outcome. Because it makes you feel like this. It makes you feel like, hey, like, what are you guys really doing in this room? And if you are doing the right thing, you should have no problem with explaining like what's going on. And I think the obvious thing is that, like they've been saying, they took a situation where a player getting hurt affected their decision, and in no way in the rule book or the bylaws of whatever, of choosing or picking or your point system, do you throw in there, oh, if someone got hurt. And I just think it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. Yeah. And do I think anything is going to come of this? Absolutely not. No. But I like the pressure on the people on the committee. I do like that thought of them having a little bit of pressure on them to maybe have to answer to what went on, because I think it's just ridiculous.
In response, College Football Playoff Committee Executive Director Bill Hancock issued a statement saying, "We will carefully review this demand for information, but it sure seems to be an overly aggressive reaction to a college football ranking in which some fans somewhere were bound to be disappointed." And then he continued to say, "Florida State is not the same team without its star QB. Strength of schedule was not as strong as the 4 teams that are ranked ahead of them." I just think it's very interesting. It feels to me like the Florida Attorney General and some of these politicians involved are pandering to, you know, their Florida fan bases, especially Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who said he was requesting $1 million to be set aside for Florida State to sue the committee. As a resident of Florida, Dr. Fax, I think there's a lot of better ways that this $1 million could be spent. I'm going to have to write a letter, a strongly worded letter to my governor, Ron DeSantis, and urge him to maybe put that $1 million somewhere else. But you got to think basically that there can be a better playoff, you know, conference situation, especially how this is all unfolding.
Enter Chip Kelly, right?
Enter Chip Kelly. So my former head coach when I was with the Philadelphia Eagles, Chip Kelly, made a lot of waves this week when he kind of explained what he thinks his solution to this kind of playoff. And it basically, college football is trending towards different super conferences. Like, we all know that. It's just interesting watching this all unfold in real time. So I'm going to just give you a quick overview of what Chip said. Basically, he believes that everyone should be independent in football, and he cited Notre Dame as an example of that. He says you can have a 64-team conference that's in the Power 5, which would be Pac-12, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC, and then you can have a 64-team conference in the Group of 5, which would be the American Athletic Conference, Conference USA, Mid-American Conference, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and then they separate and play each other. He basically thinks that in the grand scheme of things, football should be different than all other sports. He basically said that it's not fair to expect, you know, UCLA's volleyball team to travel across the country, you know, when they should just be going to Arizona. I was curious to see what your thoughts on this. I thought Chip made a lot of really good points, and this kind of caught a lot of media attention.
It's funny. I think he worded everything like great, and I think it's the first time that we've heard someone suggest something that didn't seem too out of the ordinary. But we've all been talking about it. We've all said that it doesn't make sense that you have some of the smaller schools without the same budget as the football program to have to endure and do things like travel across the country when it's unnecessary. So, like, whatever they need to do to make this work and to really stay on the moniker of student athlete, They need to start thinking about that, because right now it's gearing towards college is basically like pro-am.
Especially with the transfer portal and NIL, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like that and no one's really thinking or talking about the school and like being eligible and guys having to do class and young women having to still be in class and stay eligible. So it's just a lot. And I think that it's one of those things where we're going to see a lot of situations like the Ole Miss with the kid and the mental health thing. Like, I think I think that is unfortunately something that might start being a problem here down the line, because this is a lot to endure for an 18 to 22 or whatever it is, a 24-year-old at the max maybe. I think that's a lot. It's a lot more to have to think about and endure. Like, when back in the days is just really was focusing on, hey, like, what SAT scores am I going to get? Like, maybe that's like the biggest pressure you have, like, is being eligible to get into a college or get a scholarship. So now with all this extra stuff, I think we're going to have to start thinking about things like Chip Kelly has played out for everyone. They're going to have to start thinking about, like, really putting those things into motion soon.
Yeah, I mean, it puts a lot of stress on the non-football teams, the teams that don't have the same resources that the football program has. And I thought it was funny. Like, Chip has obviously put a lot of thought into it. And, when he was doing his media conference, his press conference, he joked that he's like, yeah, I haven't thought about it too much, but I thought it was a pretty succinct explanation and a pretty good scenario that he laid out. So we'll see if that catches any steam here going forward. It seemed like a good solution to me. But in other news, Dr. Fax, time for a Fast Fax segment. Nate's going to lead us through some viral moments, quick hitters, everything from sports and in between. What do you got for us, Fax? You ready?
Yeah, I am ready. This week on Fast Fax, one of my favorite amateur teams, the Savannah Bananas, are launching their own cruise in 2024, Banana Land at Sea. This cruise includes a game at the Marlins Stadium, 4 nights round trip to the Bahamas, meet and greets and performances from the team. Ship is already 80% full with rooms ranging from $2K to $30K. Are you interested in this cruise, Beau?
Hell yeah, brother. Let's get the Fax and the King team on Banana Land at Sea. Let's get that $30K room. We'll talk to the suit, see if we can put that on the company card.
That would be lit. Let's put it in motion. Next up, University of Georgia versus Alabama game announced, and within 24 hours, every Hilton and Marriott within 35 miles of Tuscaloosa sold out. Are you trying to go to this game, Beau?
Hell yeah, bro. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Again, put it on the company card. Come on, let's run that shit up. Let's get some points.
Next up, I know you love to hear it, Beau. Colorado, Coach Prime has taken over the portal. How do you feel about Colorado stacking up and already has a brand new offensive line ready for next year?
I'm not surprised, man. Prime, I mean, obviously they had a much better season than they did last year. I think it could have gone better for them, but they've got a lot of really good players returning. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. Coach Prime is fucking lit. They've got celebrities on the sidelines. Prime's got Travis Hunter catching 8-pound largemouth bass out of his ponds. It's a hot place to be. Not too surprised that they're number one in the transfer, in the transfer market. That's kind of the place to be in college football right now.
Next up, Utah's Crimson Collective shows everyone how to really do an NIL deal, because Utah's gymnastics and basketball teams are now the new students with brand new cars on campus. It seems like every single athlete at Utah has a brand new car. And my thing is, do you think they have enough parking spaces, bro?
I don't know, man. I just picture them like rolling up there, because all the workout times are the same for like winter workouts and stuff like that. They're going to be rolling from the dorms over to the facility like a goddamn motor brigade, dude. It's going to be like a presidential, just like fucking, what is it, Jeep Grand Cherokees and Ram 1500s just lining down the block.
It's crazy. We had Scooter Gang, like all the
kids,
I know,
right? Gang, Scooter Gang,
right?
bro. I'm still a part of Scooter Gang. That's what we had. We would all roll from the dorms to like 5 a.m. workouts in the middle of winter, just beep, 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 beep. They're gonna be doing it in fucking brand new cars, bro. College has changed, man.
Change, yo. Next up, I had to throw this in there for you, Beau. Livy Dunn selling autographed singlets for $125. Is she selling herself short, Beau?
Yeah, dude, that's a deal of the century. I bought 5 of those things. They're en route right now. I got the tracking numbers. They're coming in hot. Christmas gifts for the entire family. I got my whole family Livy Dunn singlets, gently used, of course.
Oh man,
what a steal! $125, best money I ever spent.
Next up, weird. If you're a Black Mirror fan, this is something that maybe you want to come to life or not. People are creating AI versions of their dead relatives to help them cope. How do you feel about this, Beau? Would you engage in something like this?
I don't know, man. That's like technology has really come a long way. Whatever helps you kind of get over that tough situation. I just watched Blade Runner 2049 recently. What I really want is the Ana de Armas Joy AI kind of girlfriend from that show. That's what I really want. To me, that's better than a dead relative, but I don't know, man. Obviously, it's kind of tough. Like this intersection of technology and like lifestyle these days is getting a little out of hand. We'll see. You can make me into an AI when I'm gone. Just fuck it.
I don't think I'm down for this yet. Let lion dogs lie. Here we go. Next up, Tommy DeVito letting the fame go to his head, changing his appearance fee from $10K to $20K, and he got headlines this week because the local pizzeria that he used to do his appearances at can no longer afford it. How do you feel about this, Beau?
Hey, don't let fame go to your head, brother. Don't forget about the local pizza joint. But what I really think this is his agent. You know what I mean? This is his agent telling him, hey, buddy, like we got to cash in on this. I'm blaming the agent, not Tommy DeVito.
Nah, I say, hey, if you're getting more popular, bro, hey, they just got to bump up their slices a little bit more money so they can make it work. Next up, the Panthers had basically an empty stadium, even with ticket sales being less than 50 cents a pop. How do you feel about this, Beau?
Bro, I was watching that game. It looked brutal. Like there was nobody. It looked like a high school game. There was no one in the stands. And then I think it was a bad game too. The score was like 9-7. Like, yikes. So that's a good segue into our bowl talk for the NFL. Usually we can only do one hitter on the NFL. The suits won't allow it. But bowl season, there's not as much college football at the moment. Now we can spark the whole bowl and talk about NFL football as much as we want, an entire bowl's worth, Dr. Fax. And there's a lot of fun shit that happened in the NFL over the last couple of days. What do you got for me? What's stuck out to you?
Our guy, Jameis Winston. We still got to get Jameis on some way, somehow.
Bro,
Jameis Winston,
amazing.
He shows up to the game with a briefcase, with this nice old school briefcase. And later on, we find out that Jameis gave a pregame speech and alluded to that what was in the briefcase is in between them and having a successful season, and goes on to open the briefcase, and there's absolutely nothing in there, alluding to there's nothing in between them.
Hey, it must have worked because the Saints went out and beat Tommy DeVito and the Giants. Dude, Jameis's pregame speeches were phenomenal. Remember, like,
oh my goodness,
eat the W, we strong then.
Yes.
And then, dude, he's been doing these pregame fits that are fucking amazing. I follow him on Instagram. Obviously, I play with him in Tampa. Dude, look at the one where he cuffs his jeans all the way up to his knees. It's such a good look.
Yo, I cannot wait until Jameis, like post-football Jameis, being a coach, whether it's like for younger kids or if he like is a serious coach, because you always have that one coach that has like those pregame speeches and they could be quirky or funny, but if they get you like ready, like that's like a skill, and he clearly has it. He clearly has it, and I love that.
He'll be a motivational speaker when he retires, dude.
Yo, like I love that he's genuinely himself in all aspects of life, and we get to see that in real time, and he's a really dope football player. So I'm happy for Jameis that he's still in the news, even not being on the field.
People love him because he's genuine. You know what I mean? Like people in New Orleans love him. Okay. So I want to give a quick shout out to Cam. We have Cam on a weekly segment, and we usually talk football with him. Cam's on paternity leave right now. Cooper Brate was born last week, almost shared a birthday with you, Dr. Fax. She came one day early. So shout out to Cam and his lovely wife, Brooke, and their beautiful daughter, Cooper. I was fucking with Cam earlier because they got Cooper. They have a dog named Archie. I think he might have to name his next 2 kids Eli and Peyton. Just the whole Manning family. But this is what I've been excited to talk to you about for our NFL segment. I'm going to read this tweet to you, Fax. Please tell me what you think. Rashard Mendenhall. I'm sick of average white guys commenting on football. Y'all not even good at football. Can we please replace the Pro Bowl with an all black versus all white bowl so these cats can stop trying to teach me who's good at football? I'm better than your GOAT. What do you got? What do you think about this, Fax?
Yo, I think this is clearly someone who maybe needs I don't know.
I want to know who he had in mind. Like, who is he watching? You know what I mean? Like, he definitely saw some take and then was just like, fuck this, and tweeted that out. But what exactly was the impetus for sending that out? It's hilarious to me. And this has sparked so much debate on Twitter that has been so fun to follow. Like, JJ Watt was tweeting about it. Everybody was tweeting about it.
The new Pro Bowl idea. And I said, insert all the Polynesian players because Tua now playing at the level he's playing at. Obviously, you think about quarterbacks and who's going to be your quarterback.
Vita Vea.
Think Troy about Polamalu. All the big-ass O-linemen and D-linemen they would have. Scary. But all in all, we all know speed kills in the NFL, and I'm sorry, the black guys, like, we're running that department when it comes to speed.
So are we doing like all time though, or is it just active players right now? Because are there any black kickers or punters in the league right now?
Yeah, like I think
the white unit's special teams. Dude,
we can go get destroying, bro.
Our fundamentals are going to be so good. We're going to play so much harder. Like, we need this, dude. We fucking need this. We're going to control the ball. We're going to do all the little things right. Great fundamentals. Yeah, we might get killed a little bit by Tyreek Hill. We might get a little dusted by Tyreek Hill, but like, I'll come out of retirement for this shit. You know,
Yo,
I don't know how many white nose guards we got in the NFL right now.
I think the only answer to this is doing a Pro Bowl style, man. We might have to make it happen. They might have to make it happen. There's no way in hell this would ever work, but it is just a funny tweet. And I wonder how Rashard Mendenhall feels right now because he seems like he was very serious and angry in the tweet.
Yeah, he had a bone to pick.
And now to see everyone just kind of like joking it off and like writing these, I wonder if he's even pissed more or he's just like, like whatever.
You know the classic Chappelle skit?
Yeah.
The racial draft.
Oh, man.
That's like what this reminds me of.
That would really be the issue with this because we have so many mixed players in the league. And obviously the biggest question is like, which team would Patrick Mahomes be on? And realistically,
Max Crosby.
Exactly. Max Crosby. anyone who French inhales a cigar.
Bro, that was fucking insane to me.
Yo, as a smoker, bro,
an actual cigar,
bro. Like, I'm sorry, that's like serial killer-ish, bro. Like,
yeah. I saw that and I was stunned.
And to not cough, I think like as a smoker to see that and not cough, knowing like me as a guy that I smoke blunts and I have made the mistake.
I didn't know that. You smoke blunts, Fax?
But I've made the mistake of being on a golf course and someone offering me a cigar and trying to smoke it like a blunt, not knowing how to smoke it and knowing how hard that hurt my chest and like how much I coughed. And to see him do that casually is crazy.
Yeah, I know. That was absolutely wild. Well, I love that tweet from Rashard Mendenhall. That's really funny. Some really good discussions on Twitter. Please, if you're interested in that topic, look that up. We can create some teams. It's so funny. So speaking of the NFL, I was, and the Saints. We talked about Jameis, but Derek Carr is the Saints quarterback. So I was reading this tweet recently. It's always fun to see kind of like the gifts that these quarterbacks get for their skill position players and their like offensive line, especially. Derek Carr got like some Rolexes for the guys, some diamond chains. Like a couple of the receivers got Rolexes, and then the linemen got like chests full of like meat and then grills, which is like so fun, bro. How awesome was it around the facility, like Christmas and like all the Secret Santa? I feel like this time of the year around like an NFL locker room, you go into the building and like your boys just hook you up with like random gifts. You know what I mean? It's so much fun.
You know what sucks? I'm thinking about it. I ain't playing on no teams. I ain't get shit. Shit. Like, I'm trying to think about it.
I got some good stuff, dude.
I think in No, I haven't gotten anything. Like, only thing I remember is when I was in Winnipeg, we did like a white elephant, and I got like a cool ass waterproof like Bose speaker when like those those shits were like cool, like a big fat circle one that was like pretty loud. And I think about it now, I end up leaving it somewhere, which sucks. But I had it for years, like before I ended up losing it. So that was probably like the best thing like I got in those situations. But I was never fortunate to be on a team like with like one of those guys in your like your room to be like, yo, I'm gonna get everyone a dope gift.
I was that guy. You guys got to look this up. But one year I did a Bob's Discount Furniture commercial in Philly. They had an Allen recliner. So I got every single dude in our D-line room, I got them this recliner. It was honestly a pretty solid recliner.
That's fire.
Yeah. And then like Connor Barwin, when I was with the Eagles, Connor got me some red bottom shoes. He got them all for the D-line. Some Louis Vuitton red bottom shoes. I'm like, bro, my ass as like a second year player, I was stunned. I was like, these are the fanciest shoes I've ever seen. Hey. And Mike Evans got us all like Bird scooters one year. And then also like Bose headphones.
Bo?
Yeah, bro. I was raking it in. It was awesome. Bose headphones is like a major sponsor of the NFL. So like they would get some awesome noise canceling headphones. And they'd always give them to us around Christmas. And then I would like give them out to my family and stuff like that. So the Allens are rolling deep with noise canceling headphones.
I remember this is what happened. I got a free pile of LeBron James sneakers because Barry Cofield, when I played for the Giants, is from Ohio, I believe, and he was the biggest LeBron James or the biggest Cleveland fan. And when LeBron made the announcement that he was leaving for Miami, he brought all the LeBron James sneakers and dropped them in the middle of the locker room and said if anyone wanted them. And I happened to wear a size 14, 15, and I remember grabbing like 3 or 4 pairs of some nice-ass LeBron James shoes. It was funny to think back, like, when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, we would always do D-line Secret Santa, and we'd set like $1,000 limit. And like one year, I got some awesome like cowboy boots, and it was just so fun, man. Like guys are bringing in cookies. We had Black Santa in the D-line room always, bro. I love Black Santa. Black Santa is way jollier than White Santa. Like I want to have a Black Santa in my house.
Yeah, bro. I just talked to my girl about getting like this, spending like $400 or $500 on a really nice Santa suit just to have for pictures and stuff, because just nowadays it's just like with like everyone being sick, and now I have a baby and sitting on the lap of a random person at a mall.
Hey, you know I'm a Santa suit guy, Fax. Plus, like, hey, you can incorporate that into the bedroom too, brother.
Trust me, I know. I'm
really have a Merry Christmas.
I'm trying to find a picture for you guys that we can post from Fax at an adult party in a Santa suit. I definitely know what you mean, though.
Well, this is a great time of the year. Happy holidays from everybody at Fax and the King to you at home. We appreciate all of our listeners. It's a good show today.
Good show
today, Fax. You know?
I think so. And we got the holidays coming up. Hopefully you can get your white Christmas, bro.
I'm hoping too, man. At the end of the day, white Christmas hits a little different than palm trees and sun in Tampa.